Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Literature Podcast. I'm Mich.
And I'm Joanna, and today we have a very exciting episode for you guys. Our Kingdom of Ash review and discussion. We're going to start with a general review of the book to avoid any spoilers for those of you who may not have read it, or maybe you haven't finished Kingdom of Ash yet.
Okay, so I can't believe it's done. This is crazy. I feel like it's the end of an era. I'm definitely going to miss these characters. This book had everything. I laughed. I worried. I cried a lot. I had all the emotions while reading this book. It was a great ending to an amazing series, and I give this book a 9 out of 10.
I also really loved this book. Granted, I started reading Throne of Glass in 2016, so I was super behind on it, and I just, rushed through the first, 4 books, and then the 5th one came out, and I just read it right away. But I loved this one so much, and I'm really sad that it's over. I mean, it was like a 900-page book, and it felt like it was over really quickly. But I'm really sad that we're not going to really see these characters again, and I really miss the story already, but we'll discuss that later. My dog is being crazy. He's flip-flopping around. It's like shaking the room. Alright, I think it's time to get out some of the spoilery details because I have a lot of emotions I need to get out, and you can't really get that out in just the review section.
So if you haven't read Kingdom of Ash completely, it's time to go. Stop listening. Scat. Because spoilers will be commencing very soon. So what did you think of there being the steamy sex scene between Dorian and Manon when they were all going 50 Shades of Grey for a minute there?
I mean, I was a huge fan. I mean, who's not a Minorian fan, right?
Right.
I kind of like all of the sex scenes better in this book. A lot more than, not Kingdom of Ash, Empire of Storms.
Empire of Storms.
I didn't like those sex scenes, but this one was much improved.
They were more mature, it seemed. They seemed more realistic. I think that's what it was. It was so heartbreaking seeing Elin after being tortured. Obviously, I get it, but she was just so lost for the rest of the book. It seemed the fire, no pun intended, in her went out. I get it. I bet that the PTSD from that type of torture would be awful, but this book, it didn't have the badass Elin that we've come to love, And I mean, Karen's method, Karen?
I thought it was Karen, but I don't know.
Yeah, okay. His method of torturing was, disgusting. It made me wildly uncomfortable. What the hell is that? I'd put my own teeth in you, see if Whitethorn's markings hold up then. Ugh.
Yeah, but I mean, they tortured her both mentally and physically.
Physically, yeah.
The torture scenes with Aelin were really hard for me to read. Kaelin?
Okay. Shipping them now?
Oh, no! Oh, no! But Karen and Maeve, they were just disgusting, and they're just more disgusting together. But it really messed me up more once the torturing was over and she actually got rescued, because she wasn't sure if she actually was rescued or not, because they fucked with her so much.
Yeah.
And her just screaming, "Take it off," over and over and over.
That was a hard scene.
I bawled. I sobbed, not just for her. I sobbed for Rowan and Lorcan, everyone having to witness that, because they're coming to save her, and she is different. Because she's always been the fire-breathing bitch queen that doesn't take anyone's shit, and Maeve just took so much from her, and Karen took so much from her, and just even her scars being gone. The things that reminded her of who she was. She was Selena Sardothian. She came from the slave mines. Nehemia, Rowan's bites, that's all gone. And questioning reality, that's a hard thing to go through.
Oh, for sure. But Fenris? That's how I say it. Is that how you say it?
Fenris. I don't know. We suck at names, you guys.
I don't think that she would have lasted without him in that torture chamber, for lack of a better term. With their blinking system, oh my heart. The genuine feelings for each other that they displayed while going through this torture together. Her being tortured and him having to watch and not being able to do anything. And then that scene of them in the tomb when they're just having, like, their moment connecting, like, can we say ugly crying moment? I'm so happy that she had him there with her.
Yeah, the blinking was just brilliant, especially because he couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And even when he did, like, he risked dying, and I'm so glad that Aelin pretty much saved his life, too, after he saved hers with giving him the blood oath, so that he could just live. It was so hard. Oh, I love how Rowan skins Karen. I loved that scene. Like, you go. I like you a lot.
I like you a lot.
I have a scene that was not scary. It was not intended to be gut-wrenching, but I was paranoid throughout the whole thing. So after they go through and they're, okay, getting to safety, the little folk get them into the cave, and they're trying to chill out and everything. And then Aelin decides to go swim in this ancient fucking lake. And I don't like this. I hate water. I hate deep water. It freaks me out. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the idea of things being in the water with me.
Yeah.
So when you say ancient lake and then Rowan comes out, it's like, you don't know what's swimming in there. I'm like, oh my God, something's gonna happen. Like, she's like surging her power through the water. I'm like, she's gonna awaken something. Something's gonna go wrong. She's gonna get eaten.
But she basically just went for a bath, so
I know.
Nothing happened.
I was just waiting for it to be like, and then something was underneath her. And fuck, no. I was happy for that scene to be over, and it was supposed to be calming, and it just really wasn't.
One thing that was great, though, Rowan's dream. Oh my God. How adorable with him and little Aelin and a bunch of little babies and kids. I almost bawled.
They're envisioning their life together, maybe seeing hope that this will all be over. But, and I love how Aelin, after everything she's just gone through, and there she's going through all the treasure from the little... Was it from the little folk?
No, it was in the tomb. They broke into that tomb.
And she finds those 2 rings, and it's like, they're perfect. They're perfect.
And that's like what she went in there for, too. The money was an afterthought.
Right.
And oh my God, one of the most amazing things happened. Irene is pregnant. So happy for Kale. He deserves this. He deserves this happiness. I was so excited when I saw that.
I love how they hinted at it and we're like, when it says Irene's hand drifted across her abdomen and lingered.
Yeah.
She's pregnant. And it cracks me up because in Tower of Dawn, when Kale and Nezrin were still together, I hope you're using something. You didn't.
Well, they're married. It's fine.
In the middle of war.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was super happy for him, and I was so glad that
he's going to be such a good dad.
Mm-hmm. But one of my favorite scenes with Kale that made me happy for him was him reuniting with Aelin. Like, honestly, it was good for both of them and Irene, because when Aelin's just so happy that, like, Kale can walk again, and then she meets Irene, and she's already met Irene, and then Irene gives her the note, and you just gotta cry. You guys can't see the emotion. But I'm trying to not cry on this podcast right now. I cried typing my notes.
Well,
like, it's pathetic.
Which is funny, because, like, usually I'm the one that's way more emotional than you are. Yeah, so it's funny to see you all, like, choking up. You guys can't see her face, but she is legit trying not to cry. Okay, so we do get to see this, and we learn of it in Tower of Dawn. I know, but it just got very real that Maeve is Vlag. She's a fucking Vlag queen. Like, how intense is that? It really amps up the story.
Okay, we all hate her, but there was the moment when she's torturing Aelin, and Aelin sees that she has black blood for a split second before it turns red again, and you're like,
yep,
we already knew it in Tower of Dawn.
Bitch be Vlag. Okay. So I am going to be a bad guy for a second. There's so much war in this one. I follow a couple Throne of Glass groups, and I had a feeling about this book that actually a lot of people also feel on these Throne of Glass discussion groups. So there's a lot of war. Like, I mean, I get it. It has to be a war, but there's like so much of the same thing over and over and over again. And there's really only so much repetitiveness you can handle before you get bored. And it repeated so much, like the whole, oh, we're on the edge of destruction. We're not going to survive. This is it. This is the end. These are our last moments. And then at the very last second, when all hope is lost, help arrives out of like a mist of cloud. And like, I know it's a standard book thing, and I'm okay with that. But like, it happening once in a book, great. That's fantastic. It happening twice in the same book would even probably be okay. But multiple times, I mean, like, it just kept happening, and it was just so repetitive. Like, come on, like, make it believable at least, you know?
Right, like they get there and everyone's dead.
Yeah. Or like, they can come 3 days before they think it's the end, you know? Like, right. They don't need to show up as like, okay, we're taking our final breath every time.
Right. One of the things that was really repetitive for me that I couldn't stop laughing, the throat bobbed. Every time someone's throat is bobbing somewhere. Like,
well,
his throat's gonna bob, her throat's gonna bob. Like, I was very stuck on it where I was like, I'm gonna start counting these.
I mean, you're in war, so I guess you like gulp quite a bit.
Everyone,
you're
pop
scared.
Your throats really quick.
I'm sure you do the same thing in a war. Shut up.
So there are some parts, like different war scenes, that kind of fucked me up a little bit. So the Dam and R&L scene, like, I knew, because it's Sarah J Maas, that everyone's going to pretty much be fine for the most part, because something at the last minute's going to stop it from killing everybody. We're not going to lose mass characters, which thank God. But I cried so hard when Alid left trying to go find Lorcan, because she was a little shit. She was kind of being a douchebag to him and said a lot of hurtful things to him before, you know, he left. And didn't she say that she didn't care if he came back or not or something?
I mean, I get it. I get where she's coming from, too. He did a few shitty things.
You don't say that, because he could legit not come back. He almost didn't. But her riding around and screaming Lorcan when it was like an impossible task. I mean, that's a huge battlefield and you have almost no time, and she finds him, and it just hurt my heart to see how desperate she was to find him and how awful she felt. Then she finds him, and he can't even get on the freaking horse by himself, and she gets him up there even though her ankle is, you know, always messed up. And she really messed it up. And then they're riding back, and he's like, just leave me. And she's like, fuck no, motherfucker, you're coming with me.
And she like grabs on him, that if he falls, she'll fall too.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, and I get it. Like, if I went through that much trouble to save his ass, like, I'd be like, no, bitch.
Right? Like, if there were time, I'm pretty sure she would have been like, I'm gonna slap your goddamn face. You're not falling off this horse. I just risked my life to come out here and find you. I hurt my ankle more to freaking get you on this horse. If you drop off here, I will fucking bring you back and I'll kill you.
Yeah. I will kill you. Even though you'd probably already be dead.
She'll bring him back somehow.
I will raise you from the dead to kill you.
And then freaking Aelin, using her 3 months of power that she just enveloped into herself and just wiping out all of that water.
It's intense.
That was a really intense scene, and Rowan was like, oh my god. Like, how did you not notice her leave, first off? Like,
no kidding.
He's always so focused on her, even in, like, the most ridiculous situations where you'd think he'd lose focus, and then it's like, they're standing there watching.
Oh my god, where'd she go?
What the fuck? She's gone.
That was a badass scene, obviously. I was so disappointed with how little of her magic, because her magic is like everything. That was the only time she used her magic, really. And although it was a badass scene, it was just disappointing how like little she actually like went all whoop ass on people.
I get that she was trying to keep all that power and stuff, and just wiped out. And then later on, of course, she pretty much loses it.
Yeah,
but, you know, we're getting there.
So in this one, there was a lot of people that pissed me off. Not as much as like Umbridge or anything, but I have a list. You know, Kale's dad, fuck him. Karin and Maeve, obviously. Erwin, obviously, he's just a fucktard. Darrow pissed me off until like the last few chapters. I was just like, fuck him. We should just kill him. Like, who needs him? He doesn't want her to be queen. Fine, he can die.
Right.
And even Aiden, I mean, he was a whiny little pissy brat at some points. Like, fine, I didn't want to be captain anyway.
I understand. I understand why some of these people were assholes, but they just took it too far. Like,
right?
Aiden ticked me the heck off when he... Like, yes, he did not know about Lysandra and Aelin divvying up this whole plan to be like, I'm gonna shapeshift into you and no one's gonna know. I get being mad. But to be that crappy to her and, like, call her useless, and then she feels like shit and she goes and pretty much does, like, the suicide mission just to friggin' do something and prove that she's not because he made her think that, and then he's, like, trying to go save her because he knows that he messed the fuck up. Just, come on. Come on, people. That's two of you where you've said some stupid stuff and then you regret it because it could be too late. It's middle of war.
Let that be a lesson. Don't say things that you'll later regret.
Yes.
Okay, so we're getting into Dorian's plan now. His stupid freaking plan. I'm not sure if I messaged you or if I wrote a note to message you. I can't remember. But on my notes, it just says, Dorian's being fucking stupid again. That's all my note says. So he goes to Morith, and that's ridiculous. Like, why would you go alone? First of all, you've practiced shape-shifting, 5 minutes before you decided to go? Like, not even. Like, let's maybe get this down pat a little bit before we decide to just jump into it. Obviously, his plan worked, in a way. But, I mean, really, working with Maeve, and then against her, it was so unlike him. In my opinion, it was more like an Elin plan than a Dorian plan. It was absolutely crazy. And I was baffled the entire time. Like, this does not sound like something he would do.
I feel like Dorian has changed a lot since he was infested with the Vogue, and he hasn't really been himself since. But I feel like every single thing he did in this book was kind of nuts. Like, taking the shape-shifting ability from the spider and trying to conjure up that whole fake marriage with Maeve was freaking crazy. I can't believe she fell for it. Like, I was really shocked.
Well, because he took a piece of her for mind reading. Like, he was able to spin some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand how that really worked. But, oh my gosh. And then he gets the word key. Like, he accomplishes this crazy freaking mission that he put together. Like, he does it, but the girl that the word key is in, and her saying kill me over and over again. Just another really heart-wrenching thing.
And he wouldn't even do it.
Nope. I freaking cried. I'm
like, just kill her, Dorian.
Right?
Put her out of her misery. He also, you don't realize, he's been a spoiled little prince all his life. Like, later on when they go into battle, he's like, I've never been in battle before. And it's like, oh, I guess so, huh? Okay. So, when Manon is crowned Queen of the Cochrans, and they head out to war, you know, they all have their torches going, and she has lit the torch. It totally made me tear up to see all the witches answering the call. I don't know why, but it did. They're all gearing up to head to war without questions because their queen needs them. And I was just like, go Manon. This is...
I love her. Her freaking speech to all the witches really messed me up. But the only thing I did not agree with her with was, why didn't she kill her grandmother? I just...
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I wouldn't have to be able to be like her or revenge, but for the sheer fact of, you don't want her coming back at you?
No, that bitch needed to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused with that too. Like, let her go. Why?
I was like, the fuck? Stop.
No, go after her.
Editor, please edit this out. I'm not okay with it.
Yeah. Let me just take a pencil and try to erase that.
We don't need that in there. No thanks. Manon goes and helps Lysandra and Aiden, and of course, perfect timing, right?
Okay.
But
as they're flying over again as they're about to die.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Pisses me off.
I remember you texted me that 89 was going to hurt because you cried during chapter 89.
Didn't I?
Yes.
Holy fuck. Okay,
Yeah.
when we got to chapter 89,
yeah.
I was already crying. I was already tearing up from, chapter 88. But 89, holy shit, I was sobbing. I couldn't breathe. I think I was texting you. Yeah, that's right. I was messaging you. And I'm like, I can't breathe. And you're like, oh no, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm reading. Like, I can't breathe, my lungs hurt, my head hurts, my eyes hurt. I was sobbing. Oh my god, the 13? I'm gonna cry now.
Okay, so when you text me 89, and I got to chapter 88, and I'm reading chapter 88, and I'm freaking bawling because I think Abraxos is gonna freaking die. I could not. I was like, fuck you, Iskra, go die. I'm glad that Petra, like, took her down, but I could not stand that, and then I did not expect. I expected Abraxos to be the thing that made me cry, and then the 13 were gone, and I sobbed. I'm like, that's even worse. That's even worse than what I thought.
Why? And I was like, it gets explained later.
But, oh my gosh. And then chapter 90 wasn't really any better. I sobbed so hard because Manon's just there, like, totally oblivious to everything that just happened, and everyone's throwing in all these white flowers where the 13 died. And she's just oblivious to everyone, but she hears her great-grandmother saying, "Be the bridge, be the light. When iron melts, when flowers spring from the fields of blood, let the land be witness and return home." Oh my god. We're both about to freaking cry on this
It was so sad. Oh my goodness. Like, oh. Okay, I've had enough. I'm not going to cry. I want to talk about page 800. Let's just move on. Okay. How freaking awesome was that page? So, there's a scene where Elin is putting the keys back in the word gate, which that whole section of the book didn't really make much sense to me, but whatever. It just seemed very anticlimactic for such a buildup of the word keys being put back into the word gate that it was just like, I don't know, weird. But either way, Elin is falling through the worlds. She's going through a bunch of different universes as she's trying to find a way back to her own. So I'm just going to read straight from the book. She passed through a world of oceans with no land to be seen. Close. Home was so close she could nearly smell the pine and snow. If she missed it, if she passed by it. She passed through a world of snow-capped mountains under shining stars, passed over one of those mountains where a winged male stood beside a heavily pregnant female, gazing at those very stars. Faye. But this was not her world. She flung out a hand as if she might signal them, as if they might somehow help her when she was nothing but an invisible speck of power. The winged male, beautiful beyond all reason, snapped his head toward her as she arced across the starry sky. He lifted a hand as if in greeting. A blast of dark power, like a gentle summer night, slammed into her, not to attack, but to slow her down. Oh my god! Reese and Farah, first of all, they're pregnant.
Yeah.
I freaking love, like, when Easter eggs are in books, and, like, this was an insanely amazing Easter egg, and I cannot wait for the rest of the books, because there's going to be books from different people's aspects, but we're still going to see these people, and I realized at that point, actually, that, like, I love that series. I was just so excited to see them.
Yeah, I texted you right away because you said nothing about page 800 because you didn't.
I didn't want to. No. I didn't want you to be like, "What's on page 800?"
Yeah, and then being me, I wouldn't be able to resist because I'm me. But
I just kind of left it.
I like read it 3 times. I'm like, holy fuck, no way. And then I read it again, no damn way. And then I read it one more time. And I'm like, okay, I have to text Mich. Oh my god, I was so freaking happy about that part. Oh, if you haven't read the Avatar series, like, get on it.
No kidding.
Right now. Not right
I guess that would have been a little bit of a spoiler, but I don't care.
So, the word keys. They finally get them all, and they do the whole gate thing. Okay.
Gate thing.
Yeah. That's just what we're gonna call it.
Yeah.
The
it was
gate
just
thing.
Yeah.
It was really hard to read when everyone was voting if Aelin was going to die now or later. Like before or after the battle, and then everyone
just do it
voted
now.
to do it now, which I understand why, because I wouldn't want to risk that either.
No.
But Rowan's reaction made me cry, and what kind of ticked me off was it took Rowan being in this, like, horrible mindset of, I'm going to lose my mate, to finally think up, why not have Aelin and Dorian do it frickin' together? Like, why didn't no one think of that before?
I don't know.
It didn't work the way they wanted it to, but it would have been a good thought to have before, you know, the last minute.
Yeah. And then her being in all her freaking glory, being the way she is, all of a sudden, like, pushing Dorian out of it. Like,
yeah.
No, fuck you.
Right, like midway, she's just I was surprised that the King of Otterland showed up in there and like took his place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of messed up, like Nameless is my price, and seeing him as this sort of like really broken king, because he's in all the books he was like a total douche and
well, he was
evil
infested by
asshole.
Vlag, so
So yeah, like, but he was an evil douche. I mean, we didn't know in the first few books, but it was weird to see him as a different person and to learn that Dorian was his name, and that's why Dorian has his name, was because he had one instance where he remembered it, and that was it.
when the first time he held Dorian, because his mind cleared up just enough to remember the name.
Yeah.
That part was a little like, aw. But
right. And then Aelin's like, all right, get the fuck
bye.
out, Dorian. Bye. Send a postcard.
Tell my husband I say hey. Like,
oh my gosh. So I did like the gate scene after the King of Otterland disappears and she's with the guy, and she's, you know, she's being herself. And I'm just going to read it from here because it's just too good. So Mala gives Aelin a little bit of her power. And what does Aelin do? Aelin smiled and bowed, far out, striding over the hills. The gods paused. Aelin's smile turned into a grin, wicked and raging. It did not falter as she found the world she sought. As she dipped into that eternal, terrible power, she had been a slave and a pawn before. She would never be so again. Not for them, never for them. The gods began shouting, running towards her as Aelin ripped open a hole in their sky, right into the world she's seen only once. She had accidentally opened a portal into the night. One night in the stone castle, distant baying howls cracked from the bleak gray expanse. A portal into a hell realm, a door now thrown open. Aelin was smiling when she closed the archway into the gods' world and left them to it, the sounds of their outraged, frightened screams ringing out. I don't even feel bad for them. I loved that. It was like that last little spiteful thing.
The only thing that would have like made it better is just her flipping them off as they went, like, bye.
And I loved how Erewhon was taken out by Irene, because there's been this build-up that, I mean, she's a powerful, badass bitch, you know, in a different way than Aelin. Like, I love that Elide put this whole plan together, and Irene's the one who took out...
That plan coming from Elide was, like, insane. Like, she all of a sudden just stepped up her game and was like, yes, let's beat this motherfucker.
Right? Like, her character really developed in this book, and I really freaking love her.
Yeah.
So much.
Her and Irene are two of my favorites.
Yeah. Irene's just a badass.
Which makes me feel really bad, like, really, well, not bad, sad, for people who are like, I didn't like Kale anyway, so I'm gonna skip Tower of Dawn. Like, no!
You have to read it.
You need to read Tower of Dawn.
Honestly, this book wouldn't make sense without reading Tower of Dawn.
Right?
At all. And I like Kale a lot.
He was my favorite. Out of the two, like, out of Dorian and Kale, I would have went for Kale every time.
Yeah. Like, in the first couple, I'm like...
The first two books.
I want Kale and Aelin to be... Well, she wasn't Aelin at the time.
Selena
to be together.
And then she comes back with Rowan.
Right.
Which is a good match for her.
Yeah,
I felt bad for Kale.
I was like, I don't like Air of Fire. Like, bring me back. I want my Kale. And now it all makes sense. Like, now I'm all good with it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he found Irene. I think that's a way better match. While Irene is beating Erewhon's ass, Aelin, Rowan, Fenris, and Lorcan are taking down Maeve. It wasn't quick. I mean, I feel like Maeve's death was very quick, but when their fight scene was really
drawn
out and really, like, freaky. I didn't like that Maeve was messing with Aelin and, like, bringing her back to thinking that everything that had happened was an illusion and she was in the box. That was really scary, and I felt so bad for her to, like, be put in that again. And I feel like that would have been scarier than the battle itself. She also did it to Lorcan, Rowan, and Fenris, and they all had their own illusions that they were battling with. And Aelin got out of hers, and she's, like, licking them with fire, like, hey,
wake up,
come back. And I love how Rowan keeps his little burn at the end. He's like, I don't want anyone to heal this. I'm good.
It's mine.
I'm good. Go away. But I'm glad that Maeve died. Like, putting the ring on her finger and slicing her head off when she thought that she was going to be okay somewhere else. Like, get your hope up and then slash that shit down. Bye.
Yep. I love this.
Oh my god, I died so much. One of my favorite freaking things in this book. is Lorcan's name when he's going to wed the lead. Lord Lorcan Locken.
I laughed so hard. My husband and my kids looked at me weird. They were like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, this. And I read it out loud, and they're just like, okay. I'm like, no, you don't get it. It's funny.
It's super funny, and to have this big friggin' fey male.
Lord Lorcan Locken.
Lord Lorcan Locken. And I like how they make fun of it, too.
like multiple times at the end there.
Right? And then he offers to tie his life to hers so they'll never spend a day apart. Like, woo.
That's a little intense.
I guess he never wants to see a day without her, though. Because I guess he doesn't really... It would be either you die together or he's gonna live for friggin' ever.
The whole ending to me, I mean, it was good. It was obviously, overall, the book was amazing. But the ending just felt like meh. It didn't have like that going out with a bang feeling that I was expecting. Like they kind of divided and conquered the two bad guys. It was kind of just like she burned him out. They chopped off her head. It wasn't like a holy crap. Like it wasn't the caliber of ending I would have expected from Sarah J Maas. Like obviously this is her second time writing an ending, and last time it was amazing. I was expecting it to be as amazing as A Court of Wings and Ruin, yes. Yeah, that was an amazing ending, and I was expecting that type of caliber, and it just fell a little flat for me.
I don't think it felt, like, flat. I think it was just, like, I feel like if it were just that, if I didn't have the backup stories with, like, how they were feeling and what was going on in their heads, like, the plot would have fell flat for me. But having all the different, like, characters.
It wasn't the plot. It was just the ending itself. Like, it just felt like the last fight scene was just like, and we're done. When the entire book was fighting and, like, drawn out and, like, all of a sudden it's just like, okay, that's it. Like, as if they were like, oh, you can only have this many pages, and she had to, like, try to get it all to finish.
To me, I felt like that wasn't... It was shorter than the other fight scenes, but not too short for me. I was really excited to see what happened after, in a way. Like I was kind of at that point for me, I was kind of over the battle. I like the story with our characters and what's happening with them as a group.
Oh, that part couples. I like. Like at the end, the end I loved. It was more like the final battle, is what I mean.
Yeah, I see.
But the end I loved, seeing how what is it, 3 months later?
Okay, like Adian seeing his father, Gavriel, for the last time. I mean, he sees him die. We didn't mention that, but watching him die, that was really hard to read.
I got choked up, but it didn't really make much of. Like I was like, eh.
I just felt bad. Like
he's a parent. He should sacrifice himself for his kid. I think it was stupid of him, actually. Like you could have shut the doors before going out there and dying. Like I think he just basically did a suicide mission. Like it was stupid of him. He could have held people back while they shut the doors, and he could have been on the right side of them.
Maybe he wanted to really show his son that he cares. I don't know.
By dying?
But, like, Adian seeing him on the slab afterwards, that sucks. But there were some other family reunions. Like, was it Falcon? And
Lysandra? Yeah.
Lysandra's uncle, and he's young again because Dorian killed that spider. Gets his ears back, not an old man. But... Oh my gosh. Okay, so the very, very last of the book, when Aelin and Rowan are looking out onto their kingdom, and there's just king's flame everywhere. I'm gonna cry so hard.
I love the entire coronation, like, scene, too, where, like, the next morning they're all hungover.
Yeah.
I also cried when Aelin said bye to Chaol and Dorian. Like, oh my god, we've been through so much together, and now we're just like... I like that Rowan gave her the space that she needed to say goodbye, too. Like, he just kind of, like, left and let her say bye. It was just so sweet.
Yeah, the goodbyes were really sad. Okay, so things that I want to see in the future. I don't know if she's going to write any more novellas, but I really want her to...
She's not writing novellas. She announced a couple days ago that she's going to be writing, like, an encyclopedia that is, like, it's in this world, and it's going to be 10 years in the future, and it's basically going to say where everybody ended up.
Oh,
that's what I heard. That's what I've seen on, like, a bunch of Throne of Glass sites about what she has said at, like, talks and, like, meet and greets and stuff.
Well, I will be excited to read that. Okay, but I really wish that we had, like, Lorcan's and Elid's life
Mm-hmm.
after all of this, and they name it Lorlocked, kind of like, instead of Sherlock, Lorlocked. Lord Lorcan-Locken. And you can't just say Lorcan, it has to be Lorcan-Locken, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really want to see Dorian and Manon, their love story, because in the end, Manon's just, maybe bye, like,
Yeah.
she's just her normal self.
Yeah. And he's just like, I like that she's sassy. Like, that's the feeling he gives off. He's just like, that woman.
That woman.
I'm gonna make her my wife.
That witchling.
Yeah. Even though she's a queen. She still calls him princeling and he's a king, so hey.
Right. That was all we had for this week's episode. Let us know in the comments what you think of Kingdom of Ash, or just Maas's kingdom in general.
If you'd like to get more lit, please be sure to follow us on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, CastBox, or wherever else you can find us. All of our other social media is linked below.
If you guys liked this episode, feel free to leave a like or rate our podcast. It really helps support us to keep making content that we love. Until next time, bye!
Bye! It was so heartbreaking seeing Alin
Well, that was all we had for this week's episode. Let us know in the comments what you think of Kingdom of Ash. Kingdom?
Kingdom of Ash.
Kingdom of Ash.